good afternoon, good evening, good night. Is your Olinda here again to bring you the new episode of Opera Weirds? Well, hi guys. Long time no see, and I'm very sorry for not able to record any podcasts for the past month since during the first 2 months of the season slash semester, I completely devoted myself to music until the point that I started to lose track academically. So that my Asian parents, they stopped me from going to opera and music. But now here we are. I am back. Even though I still suck academically, but I kind of found a way to balance between it. And since I was too busy doing chemistry, I wasn't able to have time to do some sort of complete script or something. So I'll just talk through this podcast freelance, I guess. So the one I played before I started talking was Visa de Arte, sang by Lisa Davidson in Tosca's Act Number 2. Yay! So Tosca by Puccini is really one of the most remarkable opera in the history, which I will talk later. And I actually went to two performances of Tosca, one for Silk Jong Beck. Oh, did I pronounce his name right? Whatever. So earlier this year, last season, I was at his Met debut, which he plays Isabel in Nabucco, which I also reviewed. But yeah, and he is good. He is stunning, and he's just really stunning. I see the whole Met Opera being filled just for him, and he is really good. And can you imagine he just debuted this year? So I went to my first performance for him, even though I am kind of a little bit dissatisfied with Shen Zhang, but whatever, we'll talk that later. And I also went to a second performance for Lisa Davidson and Yannick Nazir-Seguin. And if you know me, or if you have ever listened to my podcast before, you know how much I love Yannick Nazir-Seguin. Even though he is really not a good conductor, even though he took and currently taking many major roles of orchestras around the world. He's currently the music director for Met Opera, the Philadelphia Orchestra, and Metropolitan Orchestra of Montreal, and a lot of other roles. But I mean, generally speaking, many people are dissatisfied with his conducting skill, including me, because the sound he brings is quotation mark over polished and less intuitive, I guess. And many people are criticizing him, including me. But anyway, I like him. Even though he skipped his Carnegie Hall performance just for the red carpet in the Hollywood, but I like him. I like his cat. He recently just got a new cat named Mimi. The Mimi from La Boheme. Okay, so we can start with the introduction to Tosca first. So Tosca definitely is one of Puccini's most famous work and one of the most famous work in the opera's history. And he was first premiered in Rome around 19,000s. Is a classical example of a vivarismo opera, meaning it's focused on real intense human emotions and high stakes dramas. So it was set in Rome during the Napoleonic War. The opera tells the story of Floria Tosca, a passionate opera singer, and her lover Maria Cavaradossi, a revolutionary painter. So the plot basically tells their struggle against the corrupt and sinister chief of police Baron Scarfia, who is determined to post Tosca at any cost. What makes Tosca so gripping is it is a mix of political integral, religious overtones, and the personal emotion that's in there. And the opera is packed with famous arias such as Visa de Arte, which I just played at the beginning of my podcast, where Tosca prays for divine and elusive La Stella Caravandosi's heart-wrenching reflection on love and impending death. And Puccini's score is filled with those like large orchestrations and soaring melodies that perfectly capture the emotions and intensity of the story, just like the other of Puccini's opera. You can say that it's like all about those like love that are bad ending, but you can never say Puccini's score is bad. And Tosca is like a true tour de force for its performance, requiring not only vocal power but also immense dramatic commitment. So that's why I went it twice, because I want to see different people's interpretation out of it. And it's an opera that leaves your breathless and emotionally drained by the end. Oh, well, and I mean, it's the best possible way. It's the best opera you can ever hear. Oh, it's one of the best opera you can ever hear. So let's talk about the first performance with Xiu Zhongbaek and Xian Zhai. So I will begin with Silk Zhongbaek. What a stunning voice! Okay, so last year I was with Frederick Valentine, right? The one who plays in Carmen, and I remember I was like talking to him, and he mentioned Silk Zhongbaek to me. He was like, "Oh, the Korean dude, he's crazy," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So he was, as always, a powerhouse in mitochondria. Beck's tone is gorgeously warm and has this effortless projection that fills the house. His elusive La Stella this is just pure beauty. You can see, like, this man is like this pure, but like, oh my god, the voice is so good. So this was one of the highlights of the evening, and there's a synchronicity to his singing that makes his interpretation of Caravandossi especially compelling. And Beck is also one of those rare tenors whose career feels so broad. It is not just the Italian repertoires. He's shown his veracity time and again. So in Tosca, his dramatic presence and musical phrasing were directly spot on, and he brought both the ardor and heroism that you want from Cavaradossi. So now we can go to the conductor Xian Zhai. Well, her interpretation. I mean, last year I did a podcast about her Madame Butterfly, and I don't remember my exact words, but I think I said something related to her lack of tension and her lack of attention to details. And here, her interpretation in Tosca feels the same way. Feels like she hasn't improved over the past half years. I mean, for a conductor whose career life is like 60 years, like half year isn't a big time range for them to demonstrate a large improvement. But I just feel a little bit dissatisfied by having her with Silk Zhongbaek, who is like really good. I don't think the orchestra is really in the same line with Beck. So I feel like there's a lack in certain depth of her understanding. Puccini's Tosca thrives on its relentless pacing and the emotional highs and lows of its characters, and Jane's conducting occasionally feels so rigid. There are parts that require some conveyation of deep emotions, but she just like giving out the beats and tempos instead of what exactly feeling that the orchestra should convey. For example, the build up for Revista d'Arte didn't quite have the most exact emotional resonance it could be, and it has more fluid approach. That said, Jane's control of the orchestra was fair. Just fair, because there are too many bad conductors, and compared to them, Jane seems not that unexcusable. And but at least on a certain level, she brought kind of like a clean and precise sound to the performance, I guess. It was just missing the actual layer of Puccinian's drama that makes the quotation mark Tosca soar. Okay, so we can go to the second performance with Lisa Davidson and Yannick Seguen, or whatever. Wait, how to pronounce his name in French? Okay, so that was my second Tosca experience. Featured incredible Lisa Davidson as Tosca with Yannick Seguen conducting. So let's start with Davidson. She's been one of the raging star of opera for many years. Well, she's just like a star. And her performance only solidified that reputation. Davidson has this massive, radiant voice that seems tailor-made for the role of Tosca. Well, she's good. I remember him from La Flor de Destino last season. Wait, is that how to pronounce it? La Forza de Destino? And I think I did review on it, right? But yeah, there's no but. So I just noticed that Matt Alfarella like to use the same singers over and over, but that's good. So her Visa de Arte was absolutely breathtaking. She has this ability to convey vulnerability while maintaining complete voice control, and it was heart-wrenching to witness. I mean, what if Matt Alfred put Lisa Davidson and Silk June back together? That would be really good, right? You can feel the emotional weight of Tosca's prayer, her desperation, and her inner conflict. Davidson has also brought a strong, dramatic presence to the role. Tosca's fire and passion were palpable in her scene with Scarpia. So now, Yannick Nazir-Seguin. As I mentioned earlier, I am like a fan of Yannick for literally no reason, even if his conducting style is quotation mark lack of fitness, and sometimes, let me be direct, disappointing. But I just like him. He did bring the energy to Tosca, at least. I mean, I think one of the problem with him is just his conducting style is being too emotional and overlayered. But here for Tosca, it kind of fits, and you can see the urgency to that's added to this performance, and it works in many scenes. The Te Deum in Act 1 was a standout moment. The balance between the chorus, orchestra, and Scarpia's booming voice is pretty much handled. But in quieter, more intimate moments like Tosca's and Cavarrado's duets, Yannick's conducting sometimes feel like disconnected. Puccini's music required a constant flow, a kind of breathing with singers, and Yannick's approach occasionally felt too heavy. Though the overall effect of the performance was actually compelling, and the orchestra sounds lush and vibrant under his battle. So having Tosca's twice this season actually made me feel so good. Cause first of all, I like the story. It is like real, but also kind of fits the current situation that we're in. Cause this society always need activists who bring out the problems. And okay, let's go back. Let's go down and go back to like an overall appreciation level or whatever. So let's compare those two performances. Seo Jung Baek and Lisa Davidson both just brought such unique quality to their roles, and Baek's Cavarrado's was passionate and scenery, while Davidson's Tosca was pretty bold and commanding. Pretty bold and commanding. I'm sorry for my pronunciation. Like, so when it comes to the conductors, I would like to say Yannick has the energy and emotions in it, but it was just sometimes feel so heavy, and I don't know if that word fit, but like oily is like over declarated, you know. And Shen Zhen is more on the unpolished side. So I think they need to balance it out and put Davidson and back on the same stage. So ultimately, Tosca is one of the operas which relies on performers really much. Tosca needs the performers to bring out the dramatic and emotional intensity. And I think both cast, they need to combine the cast. And seeing the same production twice with different casts and conductors is pretty much a good experience. I mean, I should have recorded this podcast earlier, so you guys would, I don't know, but like maybe just like go see Tosca. But I think the opera is like up to January, so you still got a chance, but it's just not the same cast. But anyway, to wrap this up, Tosca this season was thrilling and it was good compared to, well, I don't want to say anything before I see it, but I am actually scared for the Aida that they will present. Oh, new production of Aida with those like projectors. Not too sure. And I think those two performances they just remind me of why this opera remains a stable repertoire. Cause it was just good, and especially with those good singers, you can really see how this old opera just like gas the new fire up. And if you haven't seen Tosca yet, as I said before, it's still up, so I recommend you to go there, even though like the cast isn't the same, but it's still a solid opera. And if you haven't seen it before, I mean the Met stage is really different from the other stage that possibly in this world. Even though I don't think the Met could come like stand on a higher level compared to those European opera stages, but it is one of the largest operas. Is one of the largest opera theater in this world, and it was just a brand new experience of you having seen opera, having seen Tosca on the Met stage, and yeah, Puccini's music is another reason why you should see it. I mean, listening to music like online on YouTube and, and having it live is very different. And mass production is also pretty solid, even though it's not a new production. But what can keep for years is definitely going to be good, right? So that's all for today's episode of Opera Wares. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or opinions on what I said, or just want to talk to me, please just email olindatang@gmail.com. It is AULINDATANG@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and see you in my next episode. Well, there's actually two choices. Next episode, I'll either do the one for Daniel Trifnov's Carnegie recital on October 17th, which I wrote the script like 2 months, last month, but I didn't get a chance to record it, or either Yuncheng Lim's Chopin with New York Philharmonic. And what's really excited is Yamada's is the second half of the concert, Yamada's Rock Symphony Number 2. That's actually more excited than Yuncheng Lim. I'm sorry for saying that, but yeah, I think I would do them sequentially. I guess I will, but I'll do both of them. And thank you so much for listening, and see you in my next episode. And thank you guys so much for always supporting me. Yay! Have a nice day. Good night. Okay, I'm recording this at like 11 a.m. I shouldn't be doing this. I should drink more water and go sleep. So, good night.